What's going on, guys? This is Jay, aka It's Ghost Story, back with another Phantom Parade video. Today's going to be a tier list video. I'm not sure how long this is going to be. I'm not sure how long I'm going to baby babble ramble, but it's going to be a tier list, obviously. I'm going to be ranking who I'm most excited to see to get adapted into Phantom Parade from Season 3 of the anime. Now, I'm going to be covering the entirety of the Culling games, so I don't imagine that Season 1 is going to cover the full scope. I'm pretty sure there's only Part 1 and then Part 2, so in all actuality, I am going to be picking characters that I think are probably going to be in Part 2 or even a little bit further beyond that. So we have a little list of characters down here, and first things first, if the title or the thumbnail didn't already tell you already, spoiler warnings for anime onlys. I'm going to be talking about the manga. I'm going to be talking about events that y'all haven't seen yet, because by the time I post this video, I believe we're only up to episode 2 in the anime. So we have a small little sample size. I'm going to be posting them in order. So first things first, we have honorable mentions. Now, here's the thing. Straight for honorable mentions, I believe I picked like 5. It's going to be like 5 people for honorable mentions. Or I'd have to adjust it. So first honorable mention is Kuro. He's not going to make it into the top 10, but I did enjoy seeing Kuro in the Sendai colony. Not gonna lie, Cockroach Curse Spirit, the fight with Yuta, the little kiss Yuta have to do with the RCT kiss again. Take your, Kuro out. Also, like, the blade he had is a pretty cool weapon. I feel like this unit would actually be a very cool debuffer. However, Sumzap is like allergic to adding Curse Spirits to the game. But then again, they did release Mahito and Jogo, so hopefully we see more villain-esque characters that are curses in the game at least. Next, now here's the thing. The next 2 I'm going to pick, I am not fans of their characters. I just think they would be cool in game. So first is going to be Naoya. Now, for the Naoya fans, we are at a disconnect. I hate this man with every fiber of my being, but I love projection sorcery. So that is the disconnect. He's in honorable mentions just because I love projection sorcery, and since Naobito is dead, he is the only projection sorcery user we're going to get unless we get another Naobito unit in the future. Next is Kashimo, who everybody was very, very head over heels when he first appeared. But when the manga was first ongoing and we were getting previews of all of the characters that were going to be introduced into the Culling games, he was kind of on the lower priority list because being an aura demon doesn't impress me. You know what does impress me? So somebody else I will reference very much later in the video. So if I go through this, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So 2 more people can be put into the honorable mentions category. So next up, Yuki. Now, I'm putting Yuki down here because I just feel like she'll be a very straightforward character. Knowing Sumzap, not everybody is going to get that like hyper in-depth kit that, obviously Shibuya Yuji has, or Mahito has, or even Todo, for example. For some reason, I just have this gut feeling that Sumzap is going to give Yuki the most basic kit you could ever imagine. Like, there's like, oh, she's a DPS, she's gonna hit insane damage. Maybe she might have, when she dies in game, she has the black hole effect. That would be pretty cool. But Yuki, she's an honorable mention. I'm not like head over heels. There's actually 2 different characters from the exact same fight that I'd be kind of more interested in. Next and finally for honorable mentions, the boy Takaba. I feel like Sumzap could either horribly miss with him or make one of the funniest and best units to use in the game. I feel like he could be like a counter guard, like a whole, like the fight that Megumi had with Reggie and his crew. I feel like that version of Takaba could be the most oddball support character in the game's history. Because it's not like he was on the offensive for his fight against Iori. So he could just be like a defensive guy where like he pulls up and he takes hits for you, or like if the person in front of him is about to get hit, he thinks of something funny and it negates the attack, or he has guard or whatever. A bunch of things. I feel like early culling games, Takaba would be a pretty fun unit to mess around with, but there's also other characters that I believe the game is going to introduce, and it's just going to be way more fun. So I believe there's 10 people here. Now, the order of which I placed these 10, it may be a little interesting. So first things first, at number 10, I'm making this list on the fly, by the way. 5:04 a.m. right now. We're locked in. So first things first, I'm gonna be honest. Yuji is my GOAT, without a shadow of a doubt. But in the culling games, we're probably like not going to see the craziest Yuji kit known to man. Now, obviously, we do have PPA Yuji, like the Yuji that fought against Yuta before the culling games officially started. But after that, we do only kind of have the fight against Higuruma and then like the helicopter head guy. And I guess if you want to include his little scramble against Sukuna when he first takes over Megumi. But I feel like that version of Yuji could also just be like an entirely separate unit, in my opinion. So when I'm thinking of culling games Yuji, I'm thinking about like, you know, from around the Hakari encounter to Higuruma. And that version of Yuji isn't going to have like a lot of finesse attached to it. You know what I'm saying? But I'm still excited because I'm a Yuji fan. I like playing as Yuji in the game. So why wouldn't I have him in my top 10? So next at number 9. Now, number 9 it's going to be kind of a rough one for me. I would say it's kind of a rough one to pick, but I will pick Kenjaku. Now, Kenjaku, I feel like it would just be, you have a lot of things going on there, man. Like you have like the mini Uzumaki, you have the reverse curse technique, you do have the domain expansion. He could be a domain expansion character. You have the cursed spirits he could be using. You could also have some taijutsu things going on. I feel like it'd be hard to put Kenjaku. Oh, and the anti-gravity technique as well. Like Kenjaku would be like a hard character for me to mentally on the fly put into a bubble. But I feel like his kit is so spread out and so sporadic that it's hard for me to get like super duper hype for him. Because mind you, I keep my hype relative to what I believe Sumzap would do for a character. And I feel like, again, Sumzap has this very weird design philosophy where they usually have like some very like restricted units in terms of design throughout most of the year. Now, I'd be hoping that like Kenjaku of all units would get like that anniversary style super fat kit treatment, but there's just something in my stomach that makes me feel like they just wouldn't give bro the best of the best. Now next is Yorozu. Now, sleeper pick. I know, sleeper pick. Come on. If you are not hyped to see Yorozu get adapted in the Phantom Parade, I don't know what to tell you, man. Her base state obviously isn't too crazy, pretty basic. But that insect armor would be a crazy transformed state, or maybe her base state and her insect armor could be separate characters depending on how Sumzap would want to do it. I would prefer them to make like one version of Yorozu and then also have her domain expansion kind of be like her final big hoorah. But then I would also think, how would they adapt it to a certain extent? Same way how they would adapt Yuki's black hole, where it's like, it's not like Hollow Purple Gojo, where we have seen people in the series survive Hollow Purple. We've seen Hanami survive Hollow Purple. We've seen Sukuna survive Hollow Purple. But, you know, Kenjaku countered black hole with his anti-gravity technique, and obviously Maharaga destroyed Yorozu's domain expansion before she actually used her curse technique in it. So it'd be interesting to see how Sumzap would try to adapt these said characters. If they would adapt Yuki's black hole, or if they were adapt Yorozu's infinite pressure domain, right? So that would be the first 3. That would be 8, 9, and 10. So number 7. Now, number 7, I gotta go with the boy Choso next. Now, Three Bros Choso, he's kind of just an amalgamation of everybody that he's inspired by, which is just Eso, Ketsuzu, and Yuji. So he's kind of just like the all-in-one cool guy unit. We've already have Green Choso, which is just like basically an entire amalgamation of what you would believe to be his Yuji fight counterpart, and the little scramble against the fight he had against Kenjaku. Mostly inspired by the fight he had against Kenjaku, especially like the little taijutsu parts, except the fact when he goes on the flowing red skill stack, it references the fight he had with Yuji in the bathroom, blah, 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 blah. But I feel like it would be cool to see more taijutsu focused Choso, you know, with like his limbs being able to kind of pull apart and swing very far with his punches. I think that'd be pretty nice. Also, the fact that we have like the supernovas. I like supernova. Supernova on Green Choso is really fun to use. So I feel like he probably won't be a primary DPS. I feel like every Choso will probably end up being a debuffer of sorts, I'm gonna be honest with y'all. But I do enjoy using Green Choso, and I imagine they wouldn't sell on Three Bros. At number 6, we're gonna have my boy Ishigori Ryu. Now, even though I did give Yuki the like, oh, she's really basic, sometimes I'll make it really basic, I'm biased. I'll say it right here, I'm biased. I really, really, really enjoyed the fight, the Sendai Colony fight, and basically, mainly the parts with Yuta versus Ryu. I liked the hand-to-hand combat encounters. I really enjoy his like curse technique, basically being able to fire out, you know, max output 24/7. I enjoyed a little hair blast, the little Josuke Higashikata type style that he has going on. And I feel like, again, he would just be cool, and I'm biased. So mind you, this is my list. So if you disagree, you disagree. But this is the character that I'm excited for. And it's just as basic as I like the character. I think he's cool. I like the fight that he was in the series. So I'm putting him pretty high on my list. I'd like to see him adapted. I would like to see this guy to not only be like a super heavy hitter, but I would also like to see this guy be really tanky as well, because he's specifically said by Sukuna to be a tad bit durable, you know, pretty durable. So he should be able to basically eat hits. I mean, he's able to basically, not basically, but he is able to eat his own cursed energy blast. So I wouldn't be surprised if he ended up being not only a heavy damage dealer, but also a heavy defensive guy, but very selfish. Like, he's not going to be like some of these new DPSs that buff as well, like buff his team. He's just going to be the type of guy that's like, you're going to nuke. I feel like if they were to bring back the nuking meta, the perfect character to bring it back with would be Ishigori. No doubt whatsoever. For number 5, oh boy. So this is okay. So we're gonna go with Hakari. Now, I am excited for Hakari. Don't get it twisted whatsoever. I'll say this. I feel like we're probably going to end up getting 2 separate Hakari units. I believe the first Hakari we're going to get, they're going to be like super basic. They're going to give us a Hakari that is just the one that scrambled with Yuji. You know, he's going to be a very basic taijutsu unit. He's going to have the doors. He's going to have his little kick. And then I feel like they will just give us like the Kashimo fight Hakari, like full-blown melee domain expansion spamming my boy, because I feel like they'll do the Yuji route with Hakari, or like at most, I feel like if they get to the Charles fight, they'll probably do that. And like, if you're able to use domain, it's probably not going to be just rapid fire spam domains. It'll be like, okay, pop it once, it doesn't attack, it ends. Something like that. It's not something that I would want, but you guys got to remember, sometimes in these gacha games, you really got to like presuppose that you're going to get something worse than what you really want. I mean, shout out the Dokkan players that played back in the day, and we got that beastless Gohan, you feel me, the physical one. So again, we might just get jackpotless Hakari. That might just be something that happens in the future. But I am super excited for a jackpot Hakari because I think it would be very cool to have a character where his main gimmick is kind of just spamming domain expansions. Because I won't lie, domain expansions are some of my favorite things in Phantom Parade. It's also kind of my favorite thing in general for JJK based games, even for Curse Clash. Like, I feel like if Curse Clash were to came out a little bit later or survived a little bit longer, it would be funny to see how Hakari would have been adapted to like a full scale game. But Hakari in a JRPG style could go insane. Like, especially because he has that RCT. I don't even know how they would balance it. But then again, a lot of people care about balance in these PvE games. Brother, I don't care about balance. Make that man functionally immortal for 4 turns. The song that plays in his domain is like 4 minutes and 13 seconds or something. Make this man functionally immortal for 4 turns. And then right when the 4th turn is about to end, you have a chance to pop domain expansion again. Right out of the gate, and then keep it pushing over and over and over again. Make that unit cracked. I don't care. Okay? So, we got 4 units left, guys. Oh boy. Oh boy. Now, this might be a thermonuclear hot take, but I am stupidly excited for a Culling Games Megumi. And listen, potential man aside, the bias, the agenda Kaizen, the lobotomy Kaizen, the whole 9 yard aside, breathe with me, okay? The Reggie fight is amazing, okay? I don't care how you feel about it. The Reggie fight is amazing. A Megumi unit with a 120% domain expansion, dropping Shikigami out from the sky, like Maximum Elephant just falling out of the sky, plopping down. The little clones he had of himself just jumping Reggie, the Divine Dog, like totality, being able to come up and counterattack. It is going to be a very, very cool unit. In fact, I'm hoping, and I told other subscribers this in my Discord server, I've also spoke about this in comment sections, I hope that this version of Megumi will be like the first DPS Megumi, because in the series, like, this is where like he really started to hit like that peak. Now, am I a little bit disappointed that after the Reggie fight, he kind of didn't do anything for the rest of the series in terms of combat? Yeah, but I feel like his final showing was a phenomenal showing. And I feel like if Sumzap were to give Megumi that anniversary level treatment on the unit style, like give that man 2 styles or something, you know, let him function through his Shikigami, give him that 120% domain expansion, give you that liberty to jump people with those Megumi clones in that fight, the unit would be a banger, an absolute banger. And I would stand by it. Like, even if he wasn't like a pure DPS unit, I wouldn't mind if he was made in the same design philosophy as Red Mahito or Green Choso, where yes, they are primarily debuffers, but they stand so strong by themselves that you can use them as a main DPS if it came down to it. Okay? Now, next is Sukuna. Here's why Sukuna is at number 3 and not number 2. So, I feel like as time goes on, Sukuna units will make the game kind of harder to play overall, because you guys know how with Sumzap, they have it so Sukuna special, at least for when he's in Yuji's body, he can't be put on the same team as Yuji, which again, for the game, it makes sense because it is Sukuna residing in Yuji's body and they don't allow same characters to be on the exact same team. But then you have to think, if Sukuna's in Megumi's body, now we'll have it so you can't run more than one Sukuna, and you also can't run more than one Megumi. You also can't run more than one Yuji. And I feel like the more Sukunas come out, the more limited future teams are going to be, which is why it will make me reinforce the idea that I think making it so multiple characters of the exact same, character name can't be put on the exact same team is going to be very limiting, and it was very short-sighted to add. However, being able to play Sukuna and also using the 10 shadows offensively at the exact same time, especially if they give us access to like a Maharaga ultimate. Like I wouldn't even mind if like we didn't have access to like his, you know, his typical curse technique. Like we don't have access to Cleave or Dismantle, but it's just like the Yorozu fight Sukuna where he's genuinely just flexing the 10 shadows. Like he whips out the deer, he whips out the ox or bull, you know, the whole 9 yard, man. Like the divine dogs that he made. It would be cool. It would be very cool. However, it dampers my mood when I'm like, Sumzap is going to be adding these different versions of Sukuna, and it's just going to limit the game even more somehow. Next, Sendai Colony Yuta. The image on this tier list is using a version of, I'm pretty sure that's the version of Yuta that healed Naoya, which is not Sendai Colony Yuta, but that's besides the point. Sendai Colony Yuta has the 100% bona fide potential to be like not only an anniversary unit, but if they really locked in, he could be like the most complex unit added to Phantom Parade. And I stand 10 toes deep on this. Like, not only do you have just Yuta in himself having a bunch of combat going on between 3 different people, using his weapons, using hand to hand. He also has Rika, right? The Shikigami version of Rika. And he could use that for team ups, right? We also have the awakened version of Rika that happened after, you know, Rika got separated, punched by Ryu, and she got really pissed off and her eye awakened and everything. We also have the cursed tools that he used during that fight, cursed speech that he used. Like, there is so many layers. Even the beam struggle he had with Ryu. We could have another huge beam ultimate Yuta. The bag that this character has is so deep that you probably could make like, you know, 2 or 3 Yutas off of just one fight. That is why I'm so excited, because if they make him one ginormous unit, that is fantastic. If they make him one if they make him one giant unit, that's fantastic. But if they were to make him into like 2 or 3 different units, that would also be kind of cool as well. But like one mega anniversary style Yuta just dropped out. Like, give us like maybe half Annie instead of hidden inventory, even though I love hidden inventory. Half Annie could just be Sendai Colony. That's how hype it is, in my opinion. Like, it could just be Yuta, you know, Ryu, Uro, and then the banner that comes before that big celebration could just be Kurosuchi or Kurorushi, whatever you'd like to say. But that's why I believe Yuta is my number 2. And finally, the glazed one from me, Hiromi Higuruma. Now, I stand on this very firmly. I love my GOAT. I love my GOAT. The moment they even showed his face, I was on that. That is my guy. Like, when it came down to when he was revealed alongside Kashima, I was Team Higuruma all the way. Like, I was so excited to see him. Loved his backstory. Loved his character. Loved that he came back for the final fight against Sukuna. Loved that he got his flowers, despite the fact bro barely knows Jujutsu and he barely be fighting in the first place. He's just a lawyer. But he's also one of the most intelligent characters in the series. So, how would this translate over to the game? I believe that he would be the greatest debuffer ever. Make that man the most goated debuffer of all time. Let him fight with his little gavel that he can like enlarge in size. You know, let him use his domain expansion. Obviously, I would actually like if his domain expansion, and obviously it takes away curse techniques. I actually wouldn't mind, for example, that it kind of has like the Junpei nerf effect, where obviously him and other units are able to reduce bosses' damages, and Junpei specifically does Jujutsu damage. So nerf Jujutsu damage, or include like another mechanic or a new mechanic where he also has like the takeaway and alt gauge. But I feel like you can include something brand new. Now this is just a random idea. They could include like a lock gauge mechanic where if Higuruma pops ultimate, he locks the boss's alt gauge. And because it's a domain expansion, it'll be like for X amount of turns. Like the boss is incapable of using or building up their ultimate for 4 turns. And people might think that's OP, but it's a PvE game, bro. Why wouldn't I want it to be OP? You know what I'm saying? Like, why wouldn't I want my goat to be strong? So I feel like a Higuruma would be really cool. Now, his Judgment Blade, I have no idea how they would adapt that to the game and people would be satisfied. I feel like the only way that would really work is if they made, like, again, like how Fuga Sukuna has like his full secret animation that starts with Malevolent Shrine, then he goes into Fuga. I feel like a secret animation where if you finish the fight with your domain expansion, he judges you with, you know, well, he judges you, you get the death sentence, he gets the Judgment Blade, he hits the enemy with it, and boom, they disappear or something. That would be cool. But yeah, that's my little list of characters I'm most excited to see in the Culling games. It's my personal list, okay? So if you disagree, that's fine. It doesn't change my list whatsoever. But if you have a different list, or if you have a different, you know, types of characters that you're excited for, I would be completely okay with hearing what your top 10 is, or your honorable mentions and top 10, your top 5, top 3, whatever it is. Who are you most excited to see adapted into the, well, Culling Games event that's kind of going on in Phantom Parade that we're probably going to have for like the next year or so? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. I would love to read who is y'all goats, even if y'all, most of y'all probably have Kashimo somewhere, but it's just me. But yeah, guys, that's the end of the video from me. It's been Jay, aka It's Ghost Story. Thank y'all again for over 500 subscribers. Please join the Discord server. I'll have it linked down in the description, I believe. And I will see you guys later.